Commence primary ignition.
This is the way. I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
What is up, all of you Ugnaughts and Jawas out there, and welcome back to Mando Talk. It's been a hot minute since we enjoyed the holidays, but we are back to discuss the Book of Boba Fett, and it looks like we are with Boba Fett himself. It's actually not Boba Fett, it's Rebel Scum Texan, aka DJ Foster under that helmet. What is
Howdy,
up,
folks?
Man?
Glad to be back, man. It's so nice to start off show off with this Boba Fett helmet. This is like, I'm so glad I bought this thing when I did, because it ended up being like the perfect purchase. Got it before I even knew Book of Boba Fett was happening. So it's just like, yes, I got it before the gigantic price markup.
Yeah, well,
so I'm
I mean,
really stoked about it.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of Boba Fett merch and stuff is ridiculously gonna go up soon, because this show, I hope, just blows it out of the water and makes everybody love the character of Boba Fett even more. Even if that's even possible, honestly.
I don't think it is. I don't think we could love Boba Fett more, just from all these different TV spots and the main huge 1 minute or however long that first trailer was.
Yeah.
Man, just all that we've gotten thus far content wise is like, are we really about to see all of this tomorrow? Like it's so hard to really like put it all into words, I think, about what we're about to embark on as a fandom. It's too cool.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get any cooler, man.
I don't think it's really sunk in for me personally yet that we're hours away from this thing premiering. Yeah. I mean, here, Central Time Zone, that's 2 a.m., I believe, is when
it's 3, isn't it?
I thought it was 3 Eastern, 2 Central, and then
maybe
12 Pacific.
Either way.
I don't know, but regardless, we're several hours away, and it's still kind of weird. Like, it's weird that we're getting new Star Wars content soon, and it's freaking Boba Fett. Who would have thought that would have been the case just 3 years ago, honestly?
No, nobody.
Like
nobody.
That blows my mind. But we got some friends in the chat. We got some friends. We got RFB. Welcome back. We got the Chosen One. We got FACPA Podcast. So I'm sure that those two, the Chosen One and FACPA Podcast, know all about this stuff. So listen, if you're in the chat, give us your predictions. I see that we already got one from the Chosen One, and we will discuss it together and kind of theorize and go crazy with this. And here's a disclaimer, folks. We are going to say some things probably that are really outlandish and probably won't happen. We don't need to see these things happen for us to love the Book of Boba Fett, but we're going to have some fun with these predictions. We're going to get really crazy. We're going to see what happens, but just to let our audience know, we're going to love the Book of Boba Fett no matter what, but we're going to have some fun with our predictions tonight. DJ, you want anything? What am I saying? You have anything else you want to say before we get into our predictions?
2 quick hellos to some folks that showed up in the chat while you were doing our intros. Blue Harvest Bricks he's my favorite fan from the UK.
Let's
go.
Want
you to Blue Harvest Bricks, you're in the UK, you're my favorite fan. And then also we got Ryan, it says Ryan V. I know his last name. I'm going to keep the anonymity, but he's a member of a Facebook group I started recently for straight up Star Wars memes. It's called Rebel Alliance Theological Seminary. Okay. It's a fake seminary all about Star Wars. It's fantastic. But he was begging me to say the name of the podcast, but we have a very strict no self-promotion rule in that group. Oh. So I never revealed the name until somebody, I think he flat out asked me, hey, what is it? And I told him it's Mando Talk. So I'm glad Ryan's here hanging out with us on Mando Talk this evening. So, wow. And of course, all our regular friends. So other than that, though, I hope that everybody had a great Christmas. Mm-hmm. I hope that the Star Wars gifts were just showered upon you.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely got a couple. In fact, I have one sitting right here next to me. It's a small thing, but it's a Life magazine, George Lucas's Life.
Very nice.
And it's a nice little, I've only read about 10 pages of it so far, but it's very interesting. It's I'm in the early life of George Lucas. So I haven't gotten anywhere near Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, where a certain helmeted bounty hunter shows up.
You go.
Haven't gotten that far into it yet, but I'm looking forward to continue to read it. So anyway, other than that, I'm just excited to talk about whatever we can come up with about Boba Fett this evening. I think it's going to be a good time.
Absolutely. Well, listen, let's do it this route. If you, the listener, if you're watching live, drop your predictions or theories in the chat, and we will come back to them after we've kind of ran through ours. And what we're going to do is we're going to try this because we want to have this for personal record. I'm going to try to be typing this stuff up as we're kind of going, so that way later in the show, later in the series, we can come back to this list and see how much we got correct and how much more we got incorrect.
You're such a statistician. I mean, it's not even funny how much of a math nerd you're being right now.
Hey, it's whatever. It's whatever. All right, so listen, let's go ahead and transition into it. It's time for us to do Book of Boba Fett predictions. DJ, you want to go first? Me go first? Who talks first? I don't know.
Ooh,
you tell me.
I think you should talk first, man. You are our Mando talk captain, so I defer to you, sir.
All right, so let's do this. I'm going to pull up the list here. Hopefully this goes well. We'll see. We will see. But my first prediction, and I'll just kind of read it, and then after I read it, you can bounce off me. You tell me what you think of it, and then while you're kind of bouncing off it, I'll try to type this out so we can come back and look at it eventually. So my first prediction here.
All right.
We see how Boba survived the Sarlacc pit and the Tusken Raiders' involvement with that in the first episode. Tomorrow, we will know that story.
Wow.
DJ, what are your thoughts on that?
I would have to agree with you only because we had this clip or a news bite somewhere recently where somebody said, "Oh yeah, all these trailers are just from the first episode," and that blew my mind because there's so much content in all these trailers. So whether or not that ends up being true, I'd like to see that happen. So with that being the case, yes, I have to say I agree with that we will see him survive the Sarlacc pit, and that we will see the Tusken Raiders' involvement in that. It's a theory. I don't know if I initiated it on this show or not. I'm not sure if you had it at the same time as I did or beforehand or whatever, because I just don't remember. But I do remember talking about it in heavy detail on a couple of episodes. So I think I agree with that 100%. Yeah,
okay.
It's a cool thing.
Sweet. I remember you saying initially that you thought it was going to be kind of later in the show, but I do remember you kind of changing your mind. I think after we've seen a bunch of trailers and TV spots, and they keep kind of alluding to that, and especially now that Robert Rodriguez has said, look, all the trailers that we've been getting so far are like the first half of the first episode. So I think that kind of leans even more so to that.
I couldn't remember who said it, so I'm glad that you reminded me it was Robert Rodriguez. I mean, he's our showrunner, so we got to take his stuff as straight up canon at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll go into my first prediction then.
Okay.
And I definitely have some predictions that are like, why are you even saying this? Like, what are you getting at? And the first one is this. Okay. I'm trying to decide. I've got 3 of them. I'm trying to decide which one I want to say.
Okay.
Okay. I predict Boba Fett will leave Tatooine in the first episode to discuss crime lord stuff with his other business associates. I think that he will leave Tatooine for maybe a brief moment. Maybe it's just hey, I got to go over here. Okay, now I'm back. I think it's going to be something very, very simple like that. And, we'll see. It's one of those like, you're probably wrong. And I think I am probably wrong. But I still would like to see him leave Tatooine for just a moment.
Okay.
He's going to go discuss some crime lord stuff.
Okay. Well, I certainly agree that we will be leaving Tatooine. But actually, one of the predictions that I made was the entire first episode is on Tatooine. But after the first episode, we will go to other locations. So I guess I'll add that to my list.
That's fine. I mean, it's kind of not the exact same thing. You're saying it happens later. I'm saying it happens first episode. Now,
Yeah.
the chances of that actually happening first episode, yeah, I mean, honestly, they're very slim, and I know that. But I'm gonna go the weird route here. I want to be different today. I'm gonna take on a pick me person mentality for just a moment. So if everybody will just let me do that for a moment, I would greatly appreciate it. So that's what I'm going to go with on that one. And Caleb, you're saying again, just to make sure I get it down right, not the first episode,
Correct,
but later on down the road.
Correct. And I think like the entire first episode, the only place that we're on is Tatooine. And even to get more so specific, I do believe that city that we've gotten is in fact the capital. I think it's Bestine. I think I've heard that name out there.
I've seen talk on the interwebs today that it could potentially be Anchorhead, a name that was dropped in A New Hope by Luke Skywalker. You know, he didn't want to go all the way to Mos Eisley, but he was willing to take old Ben to Anchorhead. And you know, we saw, if you've seen the trailer spot or the TV spot from earlier today, we got to see that Ithorian hammerhead looking guy.
Yeah.
And if you had the subtitles on, you may have noticed that he is known as the mayor.
The mayor, yeah.
So he's the mayor of what city? I was freaking out about it. If you go back and look at my Twitter, I was like, what is his name? You know, I just wanted to know who he was so bad. Or not what his name is, but what's the name of the city, I should say. So anyway, that's not a prediction. That's fact. We know that now. So that's fantastic stuff. I guess since you just gave your second, should I give my second?
Yeah, go ahead, give your second. That's fine.
Okay. All right. So I predict that Boba will be shot or injured in the fight in the city that we've seen in the TV spots and trailers thus far. And Fennec will chase down one of those tracksuit ninjas, and then she will subsequently, I don't know what else to call them.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And fresh off of Hawkeye, I mean, they're in the exact same color clothing. The only difference between the Russian guys and these guys is that these guys are doing parkour. So I'm going to go with tracksuit ninja, and then I think Fennec will kill a particular tracksuit ninja who she chases down. That's my next prediction.
That's fair. I like that one. I actually like that one a lot. I think I'm going to subscribe to that one for sure.
Okay, fair enough. And speaking of subscriptions, if you're not already subscribed to Mando Talk,
whoa, that was incredible.
I've been practicing. I've had a week off, you know. Just not really. But speaking of subscriptions, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to Mando Talk here on the YouTube.
Man, well done. Yeah. You're like professional.
Did you see Paul Blart go by on that Segway? It was incredible.
Oh man.
That's such a dumb joke. I love it though.
I think I actually kind of want to already pause on my plan. Let's go to the chat. I see some things going on in the chat.
There's a lot of movement.
And look at some predictions on there, and let's kind of have a conversation with you guys. The first one that I see on my end is from the Chosen One. Basically, I think he is going to try and do things better. But as the Clone Wars Season 4 Episode 20 states, who we are never changes, who we think we are does. So I'm waiting the return of Beast Mode. DJ, any thoughts on that comment?
I wish I knew exactly which episode this was. I believe it's the episode where he teams up with several bounty hunters, and they try to, do the train heist thing, or actually prevent a train heist. So I'm not 100% sure which episode, but who we are never changes. Who we think we are does. That's a very big statement. Like, that's a huge statement. I think it carries a lot of levity to it. So I don't know. I think there's a piece of Boba that never left Geonosis, and I think we may see a piece of that in this series. I don't see why not.
Okay.
And I think that has a lot to do with that statement.
I think you summed that out beautifully. Okay, next one that I see. FACPA Podcast says, Jay on our show thinks we're going to see a recreation of the Jabba barge scene, but from Boba's point of view, including point of view from the Sarlacc as he goes down. Fun theory. Man, I love the sound of that one. I'm there. Yeah. I'm there with you, Jay, on that particular podcast. I want to see that.
I definitely imagined that in my head. In fact, I shared with Caleb a little bit ago, I rewatched the Sarlacc pit scene from Jedi within the last hour. because I just wanted something to be fresh, and especially getting ready for tomorrow and for this discussion. So I definitely have considered that. Would love to see it. Will it happen? I don't think it will, but I do want to see it. I think it'll be really cool if it does. And
Yeah.
I will be pleasantly surprised if it does happen, for sure. For sure.
All right, next one that I see, Ryan V. I'm absolutely expecting Din. I don't think we can deny his voice in the last trailer, so I'm curious where it will go. But he and our main man will absolutely be chilling, or preferably fighting. We will definitely comment on Din Djarin in the second half of our episode. I don't think we even mentioned this. What we're going to do is kind of give our basic plot predictions, and then we're going to start to like look at percentages of characters that could appear. So we're going to talk about Din Djarin a little bit there, Ryan. You may be onto something. We'll see. We'll see what we think about that one.
Yep.
The Chosen One. Does anyone know how long the episodes are going to be? Episode 1 could be pretty lengthy. I certainly hope that it's really long, honestly.
I mean, chapter 9 of The Mandalorian was right around an hour, just under an hour. I think it was like 53 or 56 minutes, and that's just nonstop, you know?
Yeah.
So if it ends up being an hour, I'm not going to be upset.
Nope.
I mean, even if it's 35 minutes, I mean, listen, it could be 15 minutes. I still won't be upset. I mean, a little bit, but like I want a longer episode, but if it's 15 minutes of pure boba,
yeah,
that's enough for me. I mean, that's a good day. It's a good day in the neighborhood.
Yeah, no, I agree. I expect probably in the 35-ish to 50 range. I know that's a wide range, but that's kind of how The Mandalorian has been, and that's what I expect. I don't really expect to see the hour mark. However, that would be really incredible, and I would
be awesome.
Love to see that. RFB gives an interesting question here. Think on this. Are the folks we see in red, are they the Red Key Raiders from the Aftermath story? I personally have not read the Aftermath trilogy, or I think it's trilogy. I think it's 3 books that ended up coming out with that, but I haven't read that personally, so I don't think I can really speak to that question. DJ, what about you? You have any knowledge on that?
I have not read the Aftermath novels, but I like the name Red Key Raiders. These guys certainly look like they're doing a raid. So for the sake of why not, I'm going to say, yeah, that's them. It's a better name than Tracksuit Ninjas, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I mean, Red Key Raiders, yeah, I'm all for it. Why not? I don't care. Like, give me whatever you want at this point. Filoni knows what's up, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll be excited one way or the other.
Man, I'm looking through here. DJ, any others in there that you feel like we could hit?
I know that Royal Farm Boy mentioned Bestine, and he said Anchorhead is a village, so that's nice to know because that is certainly not a village. What was it? Mos Pelgo, that's a village. Yeah. So Anchorhead, it's not going to be. And then I would say Mos Eisley is a city, albeit not a major city, whatever the heck that mayor of whatever city looks like. So I guess it could potentially be Mos Espa, but Mos Espa was in Phantom Menace. So, but it wasn't sunken into the ground. So I'm going to say no, it's not. I think Bestine is most likely where that's going. But as far as any other theories and such, no, I don't see anything for now.
Let's go ahead and go.
Those, y'all just keep it coming.
Yeah, keep them coming as we go. And if you disagree with one of ours, let us know. If you have like a rebuttal, we will be glad to discuss it. So let's go back to our list. Let's see. I believe it's my turn, maybe.
I think it is.
Okay,
yeah, you're up.
Okay, here we go. There will be a connection to Crimson Dawn. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna dive too deep into that. There will be a connection to Crimson Dawn. Thoughts?
Gummit. You know, I don't want that necessarily,
What?
but it's really hard. No, hear me out. It's not that it's a weird dichotomy thing. Like I want to see it, but I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it because I want to see Solo 2 happen. Now I know that it's looking more and more like that's not gonna happen. It's unfortunate because we're now working on 4 years, I think, removed from that film's release. But that being said, there's another part of me that really kind of does want to see it. So I'll just say I'm 50-50 on that one. I'll just leave it at that I am 50-50.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I think I'm specifically going to talk about Crimson Dawn maybe a little bit once we get to the character thing. There's a tease. There's a little bit of a tease. So,
thing. Yeah.
DJ, what's your next one?
Well, it's my final one. I only had 3 predictions that I could really just think of today, and this one, I think most people will probably agree with this. I predict that there will be a new monster in the former Rancor pit. I think there'll be a different monster down there. We saw that glorious shot coming up through the grate in, I think, one of the most recent. I think it was the TV spot with the seismic charge drops. We saw them kind of slide up and that shot from underneath. So obviously somebody's dropping into the pit, and I think that they will waste no time on seeing somebody get eaten by something. Yeah. I don't know what kind of monster it is. I'm personally hoping for an Acklay. That's the spider praying mantis looking thing from Attack of the Clones. Now, is that possible? I mean, I don't see why it can't happen, but if it doesn't, I won't be upset. I just think it's a different monster down there. I don't think there's a second Rancor. I don't think that's Boba's speed. Yeah. Again, I said a minute ago, there's still a piece of him that's still on Geonosis. So maybe that's why he has an Acklay down there. Who knows?
Yeah, no, that's a good call. I do remember Star Wars Newsnet. I think they released a piece saying that there was Boba Fett riding on a Rancor at some point.
I do remember that.
We'll see.
I don't know I don't know about that one. That still seems kind of out there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay.
Well, I guess that I'll toss it back to you, man. What's your next prediction?
Okay, so the couple that we saw being attacked in several TV spots at this point are going to be the characters that are in the deleted A New Hope scene called Cammy and Lays, but I believe his nickname is Fixer, at Tashi Station. So we're going to get Tashi Station. We're going to get those two characters. However, I don't know if they're really going to name drop those two characters. I think it's going to be like an Easter egg for people like us that get it and know it. But I don't know if they're going to name drop them, because then that would just confuse all of the new viewers, and I don't really want them to do that. So I think us as fans are going to know that that's them, and they are going to name drop that it's Tashi Station, but that's one of my other predictions. Thoughts on that?
I do think it's Tashi Station. I don't think it's Cammy and Fixer. I don't think it's going to be them. I don't necessarily think it's something that needs to happen. I don't think that needs to happen. So, and here's the thing. If it even does happen, I really feel like it'll be followed up by a Boba Fett, just, I rescued you, now you owe me kind of thing. But I don't expect the name drop. So I'll say it's Tashi Station. I don't see why it can't be.
Okay.
Okay. And my main reason for that, though, is when we were on our way to the Sarlacc pit in Jedi, Han says something to Luke, and then Luke says, I used to live here, and then Han says, you're about to die here, convenient. It's one of those things. And of course, as we know, that's not what happens. So I feel like if he would have said that, he would have said it with like, oh yeah, just over that dune is Tashi Station. Like he would have just kind of known that he was in the general area. So yeah, I mean, I could see that really happen. So, but not Cammy and Fixer.
Okay.
Them.
Okay. Well, hey, that's fair. I like it. I like it. Let's see. Here's my next one. It's a little bit of a long one. Well, not really a long one. Sophie Thatcher, that character that has online talking like crazy.
I didn't recognize her because of the red arm.
Yeah. No. I mean, I had no clue. I had no clue, honestly, who this person was.
Nobody got this. You didn't get the C-3PO reference there, Caleb?
Oh, yeah. I got it now. Sorry, man. It took me a minute.
It's okay. I had to help you. That's what we're here for. Hey, Jordan Gent's in the chat saying hello.
Up? Hey, we're gearing up for Boba Fett here. We're getting ready.
He should have said hello there. If he just said hello there, we all know what the proper response would be, and that's General Kenobi. Too bad. Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Sophie Thatcher's character,
yes,
is a new character that is a bounty hunter, and here's my prediction: she is either hired to kill Boba, or she is working for Boba. I can't quite figure out which one yet. I think what I'm leaning toward is that she's working for that mayor that we hear talked about in the TV spots.
Okay.
And eventually, though, she's going to side with Boba Fett toward like
Okay.
maybe the end of the episode, maybe later in the series, who knows. That's kind of where my headspace is at with Sophie Thatcher's character. I don't think it's someone that we've seen before. I think it's a completely new character, but I do believe that she is like the bounty hunter for the mayor, and she's maybe hired to kill or get rid of Boba Fett since he's causing issues for the mayor, who has now established himself on Tatooine. But I think she's going to transition into becoming Boba's trusty bounty hunter to go out there. Wild theory, I know. That one's wild. But what are your thoughts on that?
After hearing you talk about it, I'm going to say she's definitely not immediately connected to Boba as of this moment.
Mm-hmm.
As of, maybe later on, sure, okay, I could see it. But going into it, no. You said something about Crimson Dawn, and my mind kind of started to wonder, what if she is a Crimson Dawn agent? And if there's Crimson Dawn stuff, what if she's hired by a certain dark-headed potential antagonist named Kira? I could see something like that happening. I think that would be kind of interesting. But at the same time, I really don't think she has really any connection to Boba.
Okay.
And I don't see, I could see it happening, but I'm 50-50 on a lot of the things you're saying.
I think that's how predictions should be anyway. I mean, I'm personally 50-50 on all of them, but those are the things that I'm thinking about.
You know what? I realized I could have said something as a prediction, and
all right, let's hear it.
I had a theory, but I'm going to form it and make it in the form of a prediction.
All right, let's hear it.
So episode 7, Force Awakens.
Okay.
All right. We remember Kanja Club.
Yeah.
Okay. So I believe that there will be some sort of an origin on the gang known as Kanja Club, because one of the thugs in that scene, his name is Kronkind Shand.
Ooh.
I think he may be a descendant of Fennec Shand.
Uh-huh.
And I have nothing else to really back that up on.
Okay.
Just other than, okay, maybe. Well, now I'm just kind of thinking out loud. Maybe there's like a split between Boba and Fennec somewhere down the line. And I don't think we're getting a season 2 of Book of Boba Fett. I've never heard anything about a second season being official. So in the event that there's a split between those two characters, I could see Fennec being like a founding member of like Kanja Club.
Okay.
And maybe she has a child, and that child ends up being Kronkind. It's out there.
Possible.
It's random, but the last name Shand. It's a Star Wars. We like to think it's very vast, but our characters are always connected to one another somehow. So, it's you don't really have to. It's not too far out of reach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that's a deep one, and I like it. I don't know if that's gonna happen though.
It's about as out there as Cammy and Fixer, if I'm being honest. It's not much different than that one. It's certainly possible, but it's not the most solid of theories.
Well,
yeah, and I know Farm Boy just said I just took a hard left. I know I took a hard left. It's like you don't watch the show or something.
Okay, so here, I guess to bounce off of that, I put in mind that Boba and Fennec will remain side by side and survive the season. So that's kind of where I'm at, because I think they're wanting to leave it open to do a second season if it performs well, and I still think that they want to leave it open for the two characters to come back to the Mandalorian season 3, season 4, or Ahsoka or whatever, because this whole Mandoverse idea that we've always talked about here. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I think both of them survive, and I think they stay true to each other, a great relationship, friendship, kind of working together thing, and I think that's going to carry through.
Absolutely not. It's not going to carry through.
I love it.
And it's not going to carry through, not because I said something about Kanja Club. It's not going to carry through because it's the underworld. This is a place built on backstabbing. So, and that's not just in Star Wars. That's in literally our world. The underworld as we know it in our world is even built on backstabbing, both literally and figuratively. So, it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. They're going to split. Now, will they still be in the Mandoverse, like you said?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I don't think anybody's getting killed off, but
they're
oh no, I don't want to yet. They're splitting though. They're splitting.
Okay. Well, here's my final prediction, and then we will go back to the chat if we have any other predictions. So, by the way, if you have any Book of Boba Fett predictions and you have not submitted them in the live chat, drop them right now as we're discussing my final personal prediction, and we will read it and discuss it before we go into our, okay, here's the percentages of these characters showing up. Here's my final one. And only because I feel like this is a overarching plot point that we just mentioned it, that I think they're trying to incorporate into this Mandoverse. So I know this might not be a popular thing and not something that a lot of people have really even thought about because it's not something that's going to be a main focus of this. But I do believe the Empire will be incorporated in some form. Only because, like I said, I think overall the Mandoverse is about slow at its core, like its foundations is behind the scenes. The Empire is slowly rebuilding and is going to become the First Order for the sequel trilogy. So I only feel like it's going to have to be incorporated in a small, subtle way, but it's still going to be there nonetheless. What do you think about that?
Wow. I mean, it's hard to disagree with that. I mean, there are people who are Star Wars fans who just pretend 7, 8, and 9 don't exist.
Oh, it exists, baby.
And
it exists.
Oh yeah, I'm backing that up. Yeah, it absolutely does. And I don't think it's right to pretend they don't exist and then also enjoy. I mean, you can enjoy something without agreeing with it necessarily, I guess, but I don't think that you can enjoy the story of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett without realizing those subtleties that they're playing into for the sequel trilogy. We've seen weird test tube Snokes, sort of. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know if they're Snokes or not, but we've seen some test tube. Excuse me.
You're all good, man.
That came up on me. That came up on me out of nowhere. But anyway, we've seen some things in Bad Batch. We've seen some things in Mandalorian that would hint at a Snoke. And then also I was rewatching The Tragedy today when when Boba shows up and just goes hard and just starts marking stormtroopers left and right. The transport ships they land on look very similar to the ones from The Force Awakens and also Rise of Skywalker. So it's very possible that we're already getting these tiny little nuggets, if you will, of things being dropped. So I will say, I'm with you on it as far as I agree that they've been doing it. I don't know if the Empire will have a major presence in the show, but I feel like we'll see maybe a stormtrooper here or there, but I don't think it's going to be like this. Here's the Empire. I don't think it's going to be like Moth Gideon shows up or something.
Sure.
I don't think it's going to be anything like that.
Okay. No, that's fair. And that's kind of the line that I'm thinking as well is, that it's just going to, even if it, like you said, a couple of stormtroopers here and there, just something to let the viewer know, oh, they're still present. They're still important. We got to remember these guys as they continue to build up the mythology or the story, the canon of this Mandoverse that they're eventually trying to tell this big overarching story that at the end of it, I still fully believe it's going to somehow incorporate to Thrawn, which by association would be Empire stuff. So that's just kind of where I'm at with it.
And also by association, Ahsoka stuff.
Yeah.
So
good call.
It's hard. You can't have Thrawn without Ahsoka at this point.
Yeah.
Ezra.
All right, well, let's do this real quickly. Here's a recap, just to finalize where we stand. DJ's predictions. Bubba will leave Tatooine in the first episode to discuss crime lord stuff with other business associates. I like that one. I just believe it's going to, personally, I believe it'll be after the first episode, but I could certainly see it. Second one, Boba will be shot or injured in the fight in the city, and Fennec will kill a particular tracksuit ninja, and I certainly hope so. I want to see Fennec get dirty in this season, and I certainly think we're going to get it. New monster in the former Rancor pit. I think I could heavily enjoy that one. And then the final prediction from DJ, Fennec and Boba split, and that split results in Conja Club. That would be a incredible connection to the sequel trilogy. An absolutely incredible one. Okay, here's mine. See how Boba survive the Sarlacc pit and the Tusken Raiders' involvement as early as episode 1. That's my first prediction. Second one, first episode is only on Tatooine, but Boba leaves after the main city is Bestine. There will be a connection to Crimson Dawn. Cammy and Leia's fixer are in Tashi Station. Sophie Thatcher's character is a bounty hunter hired to kill Boba Fett. And I'll kind of add to that, I also included there that eventually, though, she will kind of turn and work with Boba. And then Boba and Fennec will remain side by side and survive the season. And the final prediction that I have is I do believe the Empire will be incorporated in some way. Man, I think that's a great list that I can't wait to come back to after this season is rolling. And we can come back and see that all 7 of mine are incorrect, and probably DJ, I think you'll probably get about 2 or 3 of them correct and only one of them incorrect. And I'm leaning toward the Conja Club one is going to probably be wrong.
Well, hold on. I don't think I can say I don't agree or I don't disagree all day, but I think you're probably on a better path than I am. I think most of yours are probably more likely than mine. Not the Rancor Pit one. That one, I'm just like, that's happening. You know? Expectations aside, there's something besides a Rancor down there. But other than that, I'm with you. I think that we have a solid set of predictions. Yeah. And I think that whatever it ends up happening, I think it'll be a lot of fun to see how wrong or right we are. Because that's the fun side of making predictions. It's like, I was wrong, whatever, move on. It's not a big deal. Yeah. At least it isn't to me.
No, I agree. And like I said, the disclaimer that I gave, I am not set on this list. I don't have to see this list. They could take a completely different turn and it be completely different from what I said here, and I will still heavily, heavily, heavily enjoy it. So again, just to let our audience know, we are probably going to love the Book of Boba Fett no matter what. I promise. And we will be here to cover it with great love.
However, I want to say this. I will not like the Book of Boba Fett if it does what I'm about to say. Okay. I'm saying this now because I've saved this. I didn't know when to bring it up, and you provided me a nice way to kind of bring it up. Here's the thing. We got this TV spot yesterday or day before, just specifically focusing on Fennec Shand about her being a master assassin. Now, I don't want to see Boba be killed in an early episode and then Fennec be the focus of the show. Yeah. Now with that in mind, I could see him being killed, and then the so-called physical Book of Boba Fett then changes hands. And then now it's her like fulfilling some weird, like season 1 of Arrow type of situation.
Have you seen that somewhere, or is that something that you came up with?
I don't think I've seen it somewhere. I think I came up with it.
I don't think that's happening.
If that happens, I will be so upset. I will be livid if that happens. So, man, I want to see Fennec. I want to see a lot of Fennec Shand in this show. But if that happens, I will not enjoy Boba Fett. I just want to say that now. And then now we can move past my tinfoils, hats stuff, and we can go forward. All right. With the rest of the night.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's go ahead and move forward with the rest of our night. And what we said was we are going to now transition into discussing the likelihood of all of these surprise characters that we've kind of gotten a tease from. I believe it was Robert Rodriguez. I can't remember who it was, but they said we've got
Samantha Morrison.
We've got big surprises for you. We've only shown half of the first episode because there's so much. So that led to a lot of people speculating about, okay, who are these big surprises? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to speculate about who these big surprises are. Like I said, we've got quotes from people. We got reports from people about particular characters, about them coming into play. So let's do this. Again, we got the visuals tonight. I've got this chart here. We're going to come back to it. We're all about stats right now, man. I'm loving this. This has got to be one of my favorite episodes so far because it's all about collecting information, and I love it. So we've got this chart. We've got a DJ's percentage column. We've got a Caleb's percentage column, and we've got this character list that we've developed. that we're just going to run through and just give our quick number. And if it's a high number, we can discuss it. But if it's super low, we don't really have to discuss it that much. Okay.
Yeah.
DJ.
Sounds great.
I'm going to make you go first this time.
That's fine.
All right.
All right. So starting with our Mandalorian characters. All right. We have Din Djarin.
Mm-hmm.
I think the likelihood of, although I don't want him to show up, I think the likelihood of him showing up is 65%. I give it a solid 65% chance that he shows up. I'll leave it at that for now. Caleb, what do you got?
I'm going to go just a little step above. I'm going to say 70%. I think for some reason, I just feel the momentum of Din Djarin making some form of appearance is just cranking the more and more and more the closer that we get. I don't think it's going to be early in the season. I think it's going to be later. Somehow Din Djarin's story meshes with Boba Fett's toward the end of this show, and we'll see him kind of appear. So I'm leaning toward very favorable that he's going to be making an appearance in this show. Okay.
Sounds good. Now, let's move to Grogu, everybody's favorite tiny little green guy besides Yoda. Okay. 50% chance he shows up in this. You kind of convinced me on a previous episode, Caleb, because you said this is their golden boy. This is their money grab, machine. So I'll give it a solid 50% chance that Grogu shows up.
Okay. I just realized I didn't have that fancy chart displayed, but it's up there now, folks. Sorry about that. Okay, Grogu.
Glad it's there. Hey, now we can follow.
Yeah, there we go. Grogu, I'm going to go 45%. 45%. Just slightly under you. For some reason, I just don't see how Grogu could be incorporated into this thing.
I don't either.
I see the path of how Din Djarin gets incorporated to Boba Fett's story easily. They could easily come up with some thread where they get together. But Grogu and Boba Fett, do they really have a connection? No, not really. So, yes, the only reason I'm like you, the only reason why I'm putting 45 is because it's a money machine at the end. It's show. Yes. It's business.
Absolutely.
It's business, and Grogu is business right now for Lucasfilm. That's the only reason why I'm giving it that number.
He is. Oh no, you're absolutely right on that. Okay, as you can see on our list, Moth Gideon is next.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving it a solid 35%. That Moth Gideon. Very low that he shows up, mostly because he's in custody. So there's that.
There you go. I was just going to simply say 20%, and only based on my Empire comment. I feel like, with me saying that the Empire is going to be incorporated in some way, if they want to incorporate the Empire, it would certainly make sense to incorporate the main Empire villain that we've gotten in the Mandoverse so far in Moth Gideon. I don't see that happening, but I thought it was worth a chance of putting it on the list.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a mention. Definitely a mention, but not seeing him physically. I don't think Giancarlo is going to show up at all here. And then the chosen one is back here in the chat, and so is World Farm Boy. World Farm Boy hopes just one of the most things Kenobi pod girls are watching. I missed something. That's a different conversation. Maybe I'm just totally jumping in the middle of a conversation and don't know what's going on. Here we go. Chosen one. It would be cool to see a connection to the Bad Batch, specifically Omega. And I believe we will get to that in a moment.
There.
Yeah. And so I'll leave it at that for now. But crime lords are also all about family. Absolutely. I'm all for this kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm with you. Okay, let's move down to our next individ here on the list. Individ. Apollo Creed himself, Grief Karga. All right.
Yeah.
The chances of Apollo Creed, Grief Karga showing up here in the Book of Boba Fett, I'm going to give it 40%.
40%.
He's a former guild. Yeah, he's a former bounty hunter guild leader, now turned mayor, I think. I think that's what he is in season 2 of Mando. I could see him saying, Boba, like, fly over to Navarro for a minute, and maybe that's how we get Din Djarin. I don't know. But I could see Grief showing up, so 40%. 40%.
I'm going as low as
high,
5%. I wasn't. But you've convinced me a little bit. I'm just going to stay committed to my number. I'm going to stay committed to 5%. But you saying that makes me see it. But I just don't think it'll happen, because I feel like Carl Weathers has displayed that he likes to kind of give tidbits here and there whenever he's doing press. I feel like he probably would have mentioned, I'm involved
Yeah.
with Book of Boba Fett in some form. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm
He
going
would've.
pretty low with that one. All right, next one,
Okay.
Bo-Katan.
I got you. 70% chance she shows up.
Oh my goodness, DJ, you're blowing my mind with these past two, man.
I'm just 70%.
You're putting Bo-Katan over Din Djarin.
Yeah, because she's the former leader of Mandalore. I mean,
Okay.
I could just see there being a headbutting, not physically, but like a headbutting situation again, like we saw in Mando. Because, you know, she was very adamant, you're just a clone. How dare you wear that armor? I could see Boba not taking lightly to that and running into her potentially. So do I have a solid line to it? No, but it's, you know, it's there. I think it's a definite possibility for sure. So 70%, a solid C.
You know,
What about you?
When we were doing our Boba festivities and we were getting ready for the Book of Boba Fett and doing our Mandalorian rewatch,
Yeah.
there was not a single instance other than the finale where we mentioned her, right? Like that was the only interaction that they had was that little bar scene. And then they kind of worked together a little bit, but they didn't really hone in on their relationship outside of that bar scene.
Well, I can still see them coming back. I mean,
Okay.
it's not out of the question.
I'm just
It's still not out
prefacing
of the
this
question.
with my low number of 30%.
What was it? 30%?
30, yeah.
I mean, that's fine. Yeah, you know, 30%. And yeah, that's fine. I get it. Whatever. You know.
Yeah.
It's our average. We were averaging out okay up to the previous one, and this one out. It's just blown out of the water. And thank you, RFB. Grief Karga is a magistrate. Now,
Yes,
I don't know if
that's
that's any different from a mayor or not. I have no idea what that means. Someone Google it and tell me later.
My
maybe I'll
Christmas
Google it later.
my Christmas brain is thinking of the mayor of Whoville right now every time you say mayor. So I'm picturing Grief Karga just being this insane idiot.
The mayor of Whoville is terrible. He's the worst mayor ever. Oh man. Okay, now let's get on to Costco Reeves. I believe that is what's their wrestling name now? I can't remember. Who played her? Sasha Banks, right?
That's it.
Sasha Banks played Costco Reeves. Yeah. She straight up, somebody asked her, "You going to be in anything else?" She goes, "No, I'm done. 0%. You know, leave it at that."
I'm right there with you. 0%. I think these two characters have had their showdown, and that's it. That's all she wrote, folks.
Yeah, that they don't need to get into that anymore. Okay, Cobb Vanth, Mr. Timothy Oliphant. I'm going to go with a solid 25% chance we see this man. Although now that I'm looking back at that in comparison to Bo-Katan, maybe very, very off. Very, very, very off. So we'll see.
Okay.
But Cobb Vanth, 25%. 25%.
My highest, 80%.
Whoa!
80%. I feel like I've
man.
been advertising this leading up to the Book of Boba Fett, and on the eve of the show, I can't back off now. Cobb Vanth, the showdown between these two, or at least the discussion between these two, is warranted and needed at this point. So I'm going to go high with this one. 80% we see Timothy Oliphant return as Cobb Vanth.
That'd be a big secret to keep for all this time.
It would. Because they didn't keep it for The Mandalorian.
No, it leaked. I know. Wow. Okay. You know, I'll give it to you, I guess. All right. Ahsoka Tano. 75% chance we see Ahsoka Tano.
Okay.
Oh no, I see that. I see that look. You're like, absolutely not. It's a 75% chance.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. We're trying to connect the greater.
Sorry, real quick. RFB said Cobb Vanth not in this episode. I just wanted to say these numbers are for the entire show, not the first episode. I just wanted to make sure our listeners knew that these numbers that we're putting are for the entire season. Sorry, continue.
That's fine. I think that we'll see Ahsoka because they're going to try to connect to the greater Mandoverse. And I'm not saying that she'll show up and have a conversation necessarily with Boba about Thrawn, but I could see there being an instance where she is mentioned or a brief cameo or something, you know. So I'm going to go 75% chance we see Ahsoka. What about you, Caleb?
So Ahsoka Tano is not going to be in the season content, but I'm going to give it a solid 70% that we get an end credit scene for Ahsoka's series, just like we did for Boba Fett, because Ahsoka's series is the next Mandoverse show. So I think that might be something that Favreau wants to continue, is to continue to do end-credit scenes on the finale to tease the next Mandoverse production. So I'm going to give it 70% that we see that in credits. So I think our number is really close on that. Maybe our ideas of what that looks like or where she comes up are different, but still, I think Ahsoka is somehow going to be incorporated into what we see this next 2 months. Okay.
Hey, I like it. All right, and finally, our boy Luke Skywalker, because he is technically a Mandalorian character now, via season 2's and fantastic and incredible ending, which I will never get over because I fanboyed so hard that day.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and say there's a 30% chance of him showing up, which I realize makes no sense because I said 50% with Grogu. I don't know why. It just makes more sense to see Grogu than it does Luke. I don't know, man. I'm leave it at that and call it 30%. Where are you?
Just to set my expectations, I'm going to go in with 0%.
Okay.
Just so I'm not like, oh, when's Luke coming? How's Luke going to be incorporated? Which I know you're not thinking that either. But I certainly expect, well, on the flip side, though, if Grogu's going to be incorporated, there could at least be a to the back shot of somebody in a black hood or black Jedi robes or something, and we just know it's Luke. It doesn't have to be their face, but since I already typed it, I'm just going to leave it as 0.
That's fine. 0%, man. All right, well, that concludes our Mandalorian characters that could potentially show up. Now, shall we move on to our well-known heroes? Yeah, so if you'll go ahead, Caleb, get our well-known heroes flashed up on the screen.
Yep.
Now I took mine a second. I've
good.
got a delay here. It's a small delay, but it's a delay. So I'm just kind of briefly looking over our list of well-known characters here, and I'm not seeing 2 names I've written down.
Okay, so who we got?
That's okay. I'm saving those for
okay. We'll do those at the end.
We'll get there. All right, Han Solo, 0% chance.
Ooh, DJ.
0.
You're ruining my vibes.
No, I'm enhancing your vibes. I'm lowering your expectations.
Fair
That's
enough.
What's happening.
Fair enough.
0%. Fair enough. Where's the music,
dude? I wish I had it queued.
Oh man, 0% though. 0%. What about you?
25%.
25.
Yeah. I think it's more likely.
High.
I think it's more likely to see him than. I feel like he's more likely than Bo-Katan. Honestly, I feel like I could go even higher than 25%. I don't know. I'm just. That's probably wishful thinking more so than anything. Han Solo is probably not going to be in this thing, but Han Solo is those of you that are longtime listeners, Han Solo is my favorite character. Anytime there's an opportunity, your boy's going to put a percentage on it, so 25% is where we're at.
Hey, that's fair, but it ain't happening. All right, next on the list.
Hey, Miss Sunflower's backing me up, though. Miss Sunflower, I feel like Han might come. Let's go.
Nope, no way. Well, I'm repping our next character tonight, my Princess Leia. The only Princess Leia shirt I've ever owned. It says, "May the Force be with you always." Love this shirt. But anyway, Leia, she's showing up. 0% chance. Fat goose egg.
Right there with you. 0%. 0%.
It's not that they didn't do a good job with not Force Awakens. Rise of Skywalker and kind of reusing old footage. She's not here with us anymore. I just don't think that they're gonna do that. And I know that 5 years, 6 years since she passed. What is the anniversary
5,
now of her death? 5. So I remember where I was when I found that out. So it's kind of weird whenever you start to think about her not being there anymore. But it's 0% chance she shows up in this show.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I'm the same way. All right, Chewbacca.
All right, 20%. 20% chance.
20? Okay.
20%. Yeah. I don't see. He's easier to put in the show than Han.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I think Jonas, I think that's how you say his first name. I'm not even going to try on the last name.
Jonas Suotamo.
Yeah. He is readily and willing to do anything Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I think
he's been. Well, he's been very quiet recently.
That is true. That is true.
So, I'm leaning, that's why I'm leaning 20, 20%, but you're right. He is always like, for the most part, it's like, I want to come back. He tells everybody all the time he'd love to be back. So,
okay.
20%.
What about you? I'll give it the same number that I gave Han. I mean, if I'm going to give Han 25, I feel like Chewie's got to have the same number at the minimum, because if they're going to do Han, they would do Chewie. Actually, take that back. I just made a comment about how Chewie's more likely. Let's just bump it up to 30. That way he is more likely, but it's still not very high.
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think that he's more likely than Han, clearly, by
Really?
the stats. So, no, I'm sorry. Other way around. I think he's more likely than Han.
Yeah, that's why I bumped it to 30 instead of leaving it at 25.
Yeah, but there's no chance of Han. I just don't see it happening.
Whatever.
Just don't see it. All right. R2D2. This one was tough. I will say this one, because it's hard to get R2 without Luke, and I put Luke kind of 30-ish, but I put R2 at 10%. I don't know. That I think is wishful thinking. I really do.
Yeah.
And since the next one's C-3PO, I also have him at 10%.
Okay.
They're kind of, it's hard to have them one without the other too.
I went ahead and put both of my answers. I put 0 for both of them.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So
I'm still in the wishful thinking category here.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I put 25% on Han Solo.
It's wishful thinking. There's nothing wrong with wishful thinking.
Yeah.
It's just, will it happen? Probably not.
Probably not.
All right. And now this next one, I see the possibility. I do. Okay. It's Lando Calrissian, but I'm leaving it at 0. I'm leaving him at 0. Like, I see how he's a minor character in the grand scheme of our main characters.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with 0. I mean, he's more important probably than Boba Fett, if we're being real honest, but like in the grand spectrum of the story.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say 0. I don't think we're going to see him.
I'm just going to give it a slight chance, only because I'm thinking about how they have that Lando series queued up. Why not?
Okay.
If they are committed to that, plug Donald Glover back as Lando and remind people of that scenario and see what happens. And the response would be great, I guarantee you, because people love Solo, a Star Wars story, folks. Give us a Solo 2. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. I want it, but I don't think it's going to happen. And then, all right, now these next two, full disclosure, I added these to the list because
did not consider
why
these.
Not? Why not? Because they're not dead. They're here. They could be there. Okay. Admiral Agbar. And I'm going to go quick on these. Okay. Because I've got 2 more that are doozies that I've kept a secret from Caleb. So Admiral Agbar, I'm going to say 15% chance we see him because the Mon Cala are cool. And I would love to see him just kind of be like, do whatever Agbar does. And then Haldo, just played by a younger actor or, de-aged. What's that?
Laura Dern?
I can't remember. Laura Dern, yes. 15% chance for both of these characters. So I'm only throwing them in there because they're actually alive at this period in time. So I just figured, why not?
I'll stick to my aggressiveness. 0% for both.
That's fine. That's fine. All right, now here's 2 huge ones. Okay. Huge ones that I want to throw in there.
Give them to me. Let's go.
Ezra Bridger.
Oh, okay. That's at the very bottom of my list here. There we go. Okay, we got it.
Oh, it's at the bottom of the list?
Yep. I put it in as the other at the very, very bottom. He's a hero for sure.
I never went back and looked at it, but we can come back to it now or do whatever. But I have him at a 60% chance he shows up in this show in some form. 60% chance. How did I totally miss him?
All good.
I actually physically wrote down all of mine on an actual piece of paper.
Dude, I have to say I'm coming up with these on the fly.
There's nothing wrong with on the fly. But I'm going to say Ezra is at 60 though, just for that.
Ezra
I feel
Bridger.
Like they could do a little tie-in, with like Ahsoka and everything else, and you're doing Empire things.
Hard 0.
Oh, you're killing me.
Only because the casting of him has been so secretive. And the Ahsoka series, it hasn't gone into shooting yet that I know of. And we already talked about how Ahsoka's role was, if she's in this, it's really minimum or a post-credit scene. So I feel like if it's a stretch to include Ahsoka, it would be a little bit of a stretch to include Ezra. I don't feel it's appropriate to introduce the character in a show that's not called Ahsoka. So I'm going to put it at 0%.
I'm a 60%. Okay. This is the biggest one. This is the granddaddy. Okay. Mace Windu.
Ooh, I didn't even think about Mace Windu.
All right. Now, here's my percentage of Mace Windu showing up in this series. 80% chance Mace Windu shows up in the Book of Boba Fett.
Stream's over, folks. Drop the mic. 80% that Samuel L. Jackson is back as Mace Windu.
Absolutely. You heard it here first. Now let me preface this. Go ahead. Actually, you know what? Give us your percentage, Caleb. I want to see what you think, and then I'll kind of give my reasoning as to why I threw him in here.
I'll give it 20%.
Okay. All right.
There's a chance. I can see how he would be incorporated.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense, certainly, with Boba Fett's plot, with his character.
Yeah.
Okay, now hold on. Is this a flashback of Boba Fett witnessing Mace killing Jango, or is this new footage?
New footage.
Ooh, okay, then I'm sticking with 20%.
So, new footage because now... Granted, it's very unlikely, but I want it to happen so bad. And here's why. I remember May 18th, 2005. You may know that as the day before Revenge of the Sith premiered officially. I saw a midnight premiere, Revenge of the Sith. I'm in the car with my parents, and my dad asked me, who do you think is going to die? And how do you think it's going to happen? It was funny. We were doing this, what we're doing right now. We were doing, almost 16 years ago, 17 years ago coming up on. And he said, what do you think is going to happen? I said, I think Boba's going to come back and kill Mace Windu. Like, I was set on it going into that movie. And then it didn't happen, of course, and the rest is history. But I've always thought that it'd be really cool to see that showdown happen again. And I think that new footage is very possible of Mace Windu versus Boba. And I'll take it even a step further. I wonder how that dent got in the helmet. Maybe it's a Mace Windu kind of connection there. Why not? I mean, it's out there. And Real Farm Boy, I'm calling you out. I will not stay on target. And I'm not saying Mace Windu in the first episode. I'm saying in general. And I know you hear expectations. That's what this is about. Okay. I want to put these things out there because they're outlandish. But I'm saying 80% chance Mace Windu shows up in this series. I'm saying it now. 80% chance. So you
Chosen
said 20%, Caleb?
The Chosen One says, based on the Clone Wars episodes of Boba, this makes sense, but I think fans would flip their lids, and not all in a good way. I would say, though, Chosen One, I think I kind of disagree with you. I think everyone would flip their lids in a positive way, honestly.
I agree. Absolutely. I think it'd be fantastic. I think Mace Windu, he wants to come back. Not Mace Windu. Sam Jackson wants to come back.
I'm still a low percentage, 20%.
That's fine. Let's move on. Okay. I have nothing else outlandish. Okay. I have nothing else outlandish. Let's get into our well-known villains.
Yeah.
Our well-known villains. So you have at the top of the list, Caleb, there on the screen for our friends at home to see along with us. First one on the list, Emperor Palpatine. 0% chance. Just leaving it at 0.
I agree with you. I went ahead and just put 0 as well.
Great. Let's go to Supreme Leader Snoke. In a physical form, like alive and talking, 0. But in a test tube, I'll give you 50% if he's in a test tube.
Okay, so actually, that's kind of what I was thinking whenever I made this. So I'm going to put in parentheses here, Supreme Leader Snoke, parentheses, test tube, because I think that would be
literally what I wrote down.
So you're going to put 50% on that?
Yeah, 50% test tube. Yeah,
I'll go 40. I'm with you. I'm pretty confident in it. I'm not extremely confident in it, but I think it's a possibility. Again, it was something that was subtly referenced in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Again, we keep mentioning this Mandoverse thing. If they really want to do this overarching story, there's your story of explaining really what's going on behind the scenes. Just a subtle mention, or even the look of him physically in the tube. It's possible. It's possible. All right, next one.
Next one, Grand Admiral Thrawn. I know I said no Empire stuff earlier, but 75% chance we see Thrawn in this series.
DJ, you are shocking me tonight, if I'm being honest.
I think I'm just really excited for what's coming. Yeah. And this is going to connect to that, you know, because like you think about it like this, we have a pattern that's happening right now with Star Wars content. We get 2 seasons of Mandalorian and then an end credit scene that connects to Mandalorian, and then it doesn't happen for a whole year. What happened in that 1 year where between Mando 2 and Book of Boba Fett, we had a little show called Bad Batch, has 0 connection as of right now to the Mandoverse. What's the next show that's supposed to premiere after Book of Boba? Kenobi. There's no way this is going to connect to the overall Mandalorian story because we're focusing on Kenobi and Vader. That's what that show's about. So our pattern is in every other kind of situation. So again, tinfoil hat, I'm aware of this. I think we'll get an end credit scene with Thrawn. I think we could also get a credit scene with Ezra and that showdown. And I think Ahsoka herself will be in the show Book of Boba Fett. So when I say Thrawn, 75% chance, I say Ezra at 60%. I'm saying it's more so not necessarily in the show, but in a credit scene.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm going that direction. That's at the end of the series. That's in like 2 months from now.
Sure.
That's what I'm getting at.
I could see a possibility of him showing up at an end credit scene. I don't think it's 100% likely though. I feel like the end credit scene is really just going to focus on a character that we already know. And I've already kind of alluded to that with mentioning Ahsoka. But I like your idea, so I'm going to give it a chance, albeit a very small chance. I'll go 10% of seeing him in an end-credit, post-credit scene only, though. That would be his only role for this thing, in my opinion.
I mean, that's kind of where I'm kind of going, you know.
Yeah.
With this. So,
yeah.
That's where I'm at there. So yeah, right. Okay. Well, that's our villains predictions.
All right, we got 2 more categories,
not
folks.
Predictions.
So bear with us.
2 more. Yeah, and I'll try to keep my discussion to a minimum. So, first one on the list is a Trandoshan named Bosk. You may have heard of him. I'm going 100% chance we see Bosk. 100, a full blown Benjamin.
Let's see, what's my highest so far? 80 with Vanth, Cobb Vanth.
Yeah, you had a pretty high one, I think, with Cobb.
I'm gonna go 85%. I'm feeling more. I like it. It's more likely that Boss is going to be in this thing, so I'm gonna go 85.
I like it. Okay, next one, Dengar. 100% we see Dengar.
Okay, I like it. I like it too. I like the chances with that one. I'm gonna leave my percentage at the same spot of 85% as well.
Okay. Yeah, and it's because we saw Dengar and Bosk work with Boba in the Clone Wars, and then they were also in the Usual Suspect lineup there in Empire. And Rev Teak has jumped in the chat with us, good friend of mine, actually. He says, don't be sleeping on Jar Jar. First of all, here at Mando Talk, we never sleep on Jar Jar. We are always in a state of thinking, see right there.
Jar Jar is always strapped and ready to go, folks.
Absolutely. So will he be in Book of Boba Fett? 0%, but I still wouldn't be upset with it if it happened. All right. Now we're going into Aura Singh. Aura Singh. 0% chance because Beckett from Solo is credited with pushing her off of a cliff.
Right. And I heavily thought about that whenever I created my list here. But just with the whole flashback idea, it made me include her, but then I thought about it. I thought about it though, and I feel like her character with Boba, like I'm pleased enough with what we got in the Clone Wars. I don't really need to see more, so I'll give it a small chance only because of the flashback. So we'll go 5% on it. But I'm with you. I don't think it's a high chance.
Now, having said that though, she did survive crashing Slave One in an episode of Clone Wars.
Right.
So. Who knows?
We'll see.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
All right, let's go down to Cad Bane. 90% chance we see Cad Bane. I think they dropped him and Fennec into Bad Batch for a reason. And I don't think it was just to appease Clone Wars fans with Cad Bane. I think it really was to set something up, because there is that unfinished scene of him and Boba that we've all seen. If you're a hardcore Clone Wars fan, you've all seen the unfinished scene of that's where the origin story of the dent in the helmet comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I know I threw some stuff out about that with Mace Windu a minute ago, but now knowing that this is something that was never finished in animation, it very easily could be brought into live action. I don't see why not. So let's go 90% chance Cad Bane. Where you at, Caleb?
I am right there with you. This is going to be my highest of the evening, and that is 90%. I don't want to fully commit to it by saying 100, but I'm with you. I think the Bad Batch was done the way it was for a reason.
Sure.
And Cad Bane is finally going to get that showdown with Boba Fett. The internet will blow up when that happens, and I will be there for it, and I can't wait to see it. I really think we're going to see Cad Bane in this thing, so I'm going full confidence, 90%.
I like it. All right, our next one on the list is Jango Fett, and I see where you're at when you make this list. You're thinking flashbacks.
Yeah.
I don't think the flashbacks will go back that far.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think they will, so I'm leaving it at 30%.
Okay.
I could see why they would do it. I could see how they would do it, but 30%.
I'll go slightly under U-25. Just because I feel like that's a dynamic that Star Wars loves to do, the father-son thing, and, you know, it'd be an appropriate opportunity to do that, and you got the same actor, you got the technology to de-age him a little bit, to make him look like Jango did in Episode 2, so I could certainly see it happen, so I'm just going to give it a chance of 25%. All right, last bounty hunter character here.
I don't know if, well, I guess you could maybe call this character a bounty hunter because she did kill Zero the Hutt, but Cy Snoodles, the long mouth dancing, whatever the heck she is, that's so out there. I mean,
I put it on the list just for comedic relief, honestly.
Well, honestly, it makes sense. I mean, her and Max Rebo very easily could have survived the sail barge incident if she was even on the sail barge for that, you know. So I have no idea, man. I put it at 30% just because I just wasn't sure. I mean, I just didn't know, you know. I couldn't think of any other reason to not say 30%.
Yeah.
So
this is probably my most far out there one. I feel like we're just going to see her in the background for some reason. So I'm just going to give it a 50-50 chance. I think it's going to be a cool little callback to all the diehard fans out there. And it's just going to be something for us to talk about and enjoy and discuss amongst each other. So we're going to go 50% on seeing Cy Snoodles, baby. Let's go.
It's so weird. I don't know. I could just already hear Jedi Rocks playing in my head. Take a monkey, had a karate.
Boba's talking to Fennec, and Boba's like, "Look, we need to get some entertainment up in here. I got somebody I know. Let's go."
Oh man, if the Max Rebo band just pops out that, gosh, I'll die. I'll be deceased right then and there. Okay, let's get into some. Oh, well, actually, I want to throw another potential bounty hunter in because I saw it mentioned early on in the show.
Yeah.
The guy who like surfs on his big sombrero hat in Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Imbo. His name's Imbo.
How you spell that?
EMBO. Imbo.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He's a pretty cool character. He didn't get killed off in Clone Wars, although he got really close whenever he met up with Darth Maul.
Yeah.
In season 5. But you know, I think it's a possibility. So I'll throw it down for like a 20% that we see Imbo.
Okay. No, I like that.
Yeah.
I'll probably go just a little less. I'll go 10%.
All right, I like it. All right, let's get into some notable possibilities.
And this is our last category, folks.
Yeah, so those of you who've stuck with us, we appreciate you. And thank you for speaking freely in the chat.
Yeah, I love it.
It means a lot. It means a lot. All right, so first one on the list, Sabine Wren. Caleb, I want to see what you said first.
Sabine Wren, 0%.
0? Wow.
I feel like I have to stick to this idea of, she's an Ahsoka series character. I think if they're going to show an Ahsoka series character, though, it's only Ahsoka, other than Thrawn, only because you convinced me with that end-credit scene possibility. So I'm going to go 0% with Sabine Wren.
Well, I have it at 60%.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm realizing now, after having written these down hours ago, I was very much in the category of wishful thinking, but I'm sticking with them. I have it here in black and white on a piece of paper. Like it's physical, you know.
You might be onto something.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Probably not, but yeah, it's fun. All right, Hondo Ohnaka. Hondo, the Jack Sparrow of Star Wars.
Yeah.
70% chance, man. I love that character. We know that he makes it all the way up to essentially The Last Jedi, because Galaxy's Edge storyline takes place right there between I think 8 and 9, if I remember right, or 7 and 8. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. I
think it's 8 and 9. So Hondo's there. Han essentially has loaned Hondo the Falcon, and that's why it's at Galaxy's Edge. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a 70% chance we see Hondo in this series, and I think it'd be really cool if we did. And Disney loves Hondo. So
I just thought of, like, what if, now we might already know this, and this might not be a possibility, but what if Hondo just flies into Tatooine on the Falcon, and that gets, like, Boba Fett so triggered, thinking it's going to be Han Solo, but it's not.
Don't even bring that in here. You take that crap outside, I'll have a full-blown conniption fit. I'm having a conniption fit right now thinking about that.
I'm going to go 60%. 60% for Hondo. I think that'd be fun. I think a lot of people would enjoy it. I could see that character being incorporated with what we're going for in this series. So I'm high with you on that one.
You're killing me with the Falcon thing, though, man. Okay. I didn't say this earlier, but we've got Dr. Aphra. Mm-hmm. And for our comic book readers and comic book fans, I personally have never read a Dr. Aphra comic. I saw a fan film that someone did with her, and she actually was the reason Bosk was introduced in this particular fan film I watched, which is really good, actually. And they made Bosk look really good in this fan film. But I think that the person on the bike, played by Sophie, what's her
Thatcher.
name again? Sophie Thatcher. I think she's Dr. Aphra. So 100% chance we see Dr. Aphra in this series.
Man. I put 30% for Dr. Aphra. From seeing just comic book covers, I believe there is a bounty hunter cover of Boba and Dr. Aphra side by side.
I think you're right.
So there is at least a connection between the two characters, so I'm giving it a chance. But I am of the belief that Sophie Thatcher character is a brand new character. And outside of that, seeing Sophie Thatcher's character pop up in the trailer was the only reason really why I even thought of Dr. Aphra, because I kind of got those vibes from her. But at the end of it, I kind of thought to myself, I more than likely expect this to be a new character. So my Dr. Aphra theory is probably really, really low. And so that's why I'm going to go with 30% for Dr. Aphra.
Fair enough. All right. Fair enough. All right. Kira.
Let's go.
I wrote this down earlier today, and I kind of doubled back on it at one point during the day, and then came back around to it again. And then through this conversation, I'm kind of like trying to still land on a certain number. And I'm going to stick with my original number with Kira and say 80%. 80% chance we see Kira. Now, having said that, I don't want it to happen, but I think it will happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very strong possibility it will happen.
So
80% chance.
Amelia Clark recently was doing some interview with The Hollywood Reporter, and they asked her about returning to Star Wars, and she gave some comments that clearly indicated that she's very much interested. They haven't really called her, even though that she would love the idea. I think that's actress doing the actress job, if you will. I think she knows something is up. I think that something that is up is her being in the Book of Boba Fett. I think this is how we get the Crimson Dawn connection that I predicted earlier in this episode, where I talked about that was one of my general predictions, that I think Crimson Dawn is going to be incorporated in some form. I'm not fully convinced as high as 90% that I gave Cad Bane, but I am Bosk and Dengar convinced. I'm going to give it an 85% chance. chance that Kira is kind of the overarching antagonist, if you will, throughout this entire season. And it's just going to take a minute until probably the last several episodes to figure out, okay, she's really the one that's kind of behind the curtains here, if you will. And that reveal would certainly be something. I think it's something that would make sense. It would be something that gives this series a huge explanation point. And I'm kind of with you, though. Like, yeah, that kind of ruins probably the chances of a Solo 2.
Yeah.
It doesn't ruin it, but it makes that opportunity a little bit slimmer. But I think that the story is there for it. I think this is probably the one on this list, even though it's not my highest, it's the most passionate I'm about, only because I love Emilia Clarke, obviously, because Game of Thrones. Let's make it happen. Let's do it. Let's get Kira involved in the Book of Boba Fett.
I appreciate, from a certain point of view, podcasts comment there down at the bottom. If DJ's numbers are even close to right, this is going to be a walking cameo show. Listen, I hate that you said that because now I feel like an idiot. But at the same time, these numbers are hearsay and they're all, whatever.
Sure.
But at the same time, this is just what I think about individually on these characters. I want to see these people happen. You're right. It could become a walking cameo show, but at the same time, from a certain point of view, that could happen. So there you go. All right. And our final person on the list, we already covered Ezra. So let's hit up Omega. I'm going to go with a 32% chance.
Interesting number.
Yeah, I know. And I even thought that when I wrote it down. I was like, this one's so weird. Like, this one's weirder than Cy Snoodles. Like, I think I had Cy at 30%, but like Omega, I'm like, yeah, no, I don't know. So 32%. And leave it at that.
Man, I'm thinking.
Caleb?
I'm thinking on the fly here. Because in Bad Batch, it's revealed that they're essentially brother and sister, correct?
I mean, it did, but they're really going to pull that into live action. I mean, we said the same thing with Rebels, and here we are talking about Thrawn and everybody else.
Okay,
so,
yeah. The more I'm thinking about it, I think that that's a story that they're going to explore in season 2 of the Bad Batch. So for right now, I do not think that we are there yet to see Omega in live action. So I'll give it a 10% chance. It's possible.
It'd be a good reason. 10%?
Yeah, 10%. It's possible only because that family dynamic, but not likely. There's too much that we've already mentioned here that I would see happening instead, to where I can't really give this a high number because there's just so much going on. Potentially, again, we are wrong, folks. We're probably wrong. We're just having fun. Fair. But Omega is a small chance, 10%.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, with the having her, this is more Bad Batch than Book of Boba. In Bad Batch season 2, I would like to see her return. Obviously, she's going to return for Bad Batch, but I really want to see Daniel Logan return as Boba Fett in animation. I think he's still in the right time frame with Boba that we could have him come back and voice Boba in Bad Batch. So I'd rather see that happen within animation at this point. Nothing's really happened from Bad Batch that's like warranted me saying, give me Omega in live action. You know, it'd be cool. I wouldn't be against it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's why I give it 32%.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, look at this list, man. Look at this list.
Incredible.
I feel like we literally hit every possible character that we could imagine of potentially showing up in this thing. And again, folks, we're just having fun with this. We know it's not humanly possible for all of these characters to be in this show. So, we just had some fun, and hopefully you are now ready to watch the Book of Boba Fett tomorrow. It is officially going to be here tomorrow, folks. These are our kind of final predictions, if you will, and it's officially here. DJ, any final thing that you would like the audience to know as we go into the Book of Boba Fett tomorrow?
I will be awake at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow morning to watch this show.
Yeah.
Here's why. I don't stay up late. I go to bed early. And 5 a.m. seems like a reasonable time for me to wake up, watch a show, and then maybe go back to bed for a little bit. So I will be awake at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you are also awake at 5 a.m., anybody watching, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at RebelsComeTexan right below my screen. Yeah. And we can have a fun little conversation early in the wee hours of the day. Caleb, what time do you think you'll be watching the first episode?
Man, I'll be honest. I have debated with trying to stay up. If I'm being completely honest, wow. I'm that ready to go with this thing. I mean, I think it's 2 a.m. Central Time. I feel like that's doable for me. But, I mean, it's not ideal, obviously. I wish it was 12 a.m. for us here, but it's not. I don't know. I'm leaning more so toward probably like 6 a.m. though. Probably early in the morning, kind of when I wake up or whatever. Yeah. And then viewing it first thing because I know spoilers are going to be out there, and I'm heavily trying to avoid spoilers. So I'll probably watch it first thing right in the morning, so I know that I'm not spoiled with anything. I do want to mention though, because we still have several of you guys with us in the live chat, and first of all, I'm so thankful that you guys are here. By the way, if you have not hit that subscribe button, do it, because we have this much fun every single time that we hit record, Absolutely. Every single time we hit go live. But those of you that are here and those of you that might be new, on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, the same time, same place, on Thursdays, we are going to do our spoiler reviews, our spoiler discussions with the Book of Boba Fett. So this Thursday, in 2 days, we wanted to give you kind of the full day of Wednesday and a little bit of Thursday to kind of formulate your own theory or your predictions, theories, whatever, thoughts, discussion pieces, because we know there are probably going to be a lot of people that do it tomorrow. So what we'll do is Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, spoiler discussion for the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 1, Episode 1, whatever it is, and we'll continue that schedule. So make sure you are here. We were so thankful of this engagement that we got tonight. It was incredible. So yeah, Thank you. Thank you so much. It was awesome.
Somebody threw out one other possibility of Captain Rex being the other familiar helmet.
Yeah.
So do we want to go ahead and just throw that in there, or we want to leave it be? What do you think?
We could throw it in there, but I'm going to go like 5%.
Oh, yeah. I'll say 5% as well. I mean, just because Tim Morrison can be the face doesn't mean he needs to be in this. I'd rather see him in Ahsoka. First time ever in Ahsoka. So yeah. I feel so bad for Chosen One just staying up till 2 a.m. just to listen to these guys from the South. Man, thank you. Thank you so much for sticking around. And then from a certain point of view, podcast guys, jealousy for your midnight drop.
Definitely.
Jerks.
I feel like if we had midnight drops, like I'd be doing watch parties and you name it. Like we'd be having so much fun.
Oh my goodness, I know. I'd have to close the door and the bedroom. My wife would just be conked out, and I'd just be like, the whole time. I'd feel so bad for her.
Yeah,
I'd feel so bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I know Caleb does too. So I'll toss it back over to Caleb so we can get out of here.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, we'll see you back on Thursday. And listen, folks, good luck with tomorrow. I know I'm anxious. I always get anxious right before a new Star Wars story hits. Like, I'm so worried that it's not going to be good, but it's going to be good. I always have those feelings. So listen, enjoy watching the Book of Boba Fett tomorrow. However you see it, whenever you see it, we will be here Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time to discuss spoilers. All right, that is it from myself, from DJ. We hope that you have a blessed tomorrow, Wednesday, watching this thing, and then we'll see you again on Thursday. All right, let's get out of here. As always, we have spoken.